What is the most important tale in history? World War II? The rise of the Roman Empire? The Great Pyramids? No. The most important one is the story of the mankind itself, how we went from being hunted in the dark to build a higher level of intelligence called AI. This is a tale of mankind from Stone Age to Bronze, and you're watching TaleGoo. Chapter 1: The Dawn of Survival. Before empires and glory, there was only survival. Every sunrise meant hunger, every shadow meant danger. This was the dawn of mankind. The night was alive with shadows. The wind howled through the trees, and beyond the flickering fire, eyes gleamed in the dark. A small band of humans huddled together, clutching sharpened stones and wooden spears. They were not kings of earth, yet they were prey as much as hunters, fragile against claws, fangs, and cold. The fire, this fragile gift, its warmth drove away the biting chill. Its light kept the predators at bay. Around it, they learned something new: safety in numbers, strength in unity. By day, they scoured the land, chasing herds across the plains, cracking bones for marrow. Every step was a battle against hunger. Yet with each struggle, they adapted. Flint chipped into blades, wood hardened into spears, and language was born in grunts and gestures. At night, when the fire roared brightest, they told stories. Stories of spirits in the trees, beasts that were slain. In the shadows of their fear, imagination took root, and humanity had just begun. Chapter 2: Masters of Fire. In the darkness, fire was more than light. It was power and the first spark of civilization. At first, fire was an enemy. It roared from the sky in storms, devouring jungles, chasing beasts and men alike. The tribe feared it, watching it from afar as it raged beyond their reach. But one day, lightning struck, and a tree smoldered without dying. From its embers, a new power was born. A man, trembling, carried a burning branch back to the cave. The flames were alive like a spirit that could not be tamed, yet they fed it. Twigs and dry grass. Fire changed everything. Meat, once raw and tough, softened over the flames, filling bellies with warmth and strength. Predators, once bold, now lingered at a distance, afraid of the glow. The night, once endless and full of terror, became a new world of dancing shadows and light. But fire was more than survival. It was a transformation. With glowing coals, stone could be shaped sharper. With fire, humans spread into the colder lands once impossible to endure. Around the fire, the first bounds deepened, laughter, songs, and stories rising with the smoke. In mastering fire, mankind mastered the first step toward dominion over the world. Chapter 3: The First Tools. A sharp stone changed everything. For the first time, mankind shaped the world. The hunt had failed again. Spears of wood splintered against the hide of the great beast, and the tribe returned hungry, their footsteps heavy with despair. Survival demanded more than courage, it demanded innovation. By the river's edge, one of them knelt, holding a shard of flint. He struck a stone against stone. Sparks leaped. Slowly, he learned the secret of shaping. The jagged edges became blades, sharper than teeth, and the first tools were born. With stone knives, hides could be stripped clean, meat carved swiftly before rotting. Axes felled trees that once stood untouchable. Scrappers pierced the leather, stitching clothes to shield against the cold. The world, once immovable, now bends beneath their hands. Tools were more than objects, they were extensions of human mind. Hunts changed. Spears tipped with stone pierced the side of mammoths, bringing giants crashing down. Great job, guys. Now, let's make all animals on the planet extinct and build a bomb and kill millions of people. Bones became part of new creations. Even wood, shaped by sharp edges, obeyed. their will. With tools, they could mold their fate. With every tool carved from stone, mankind carved its own path forward. Chapter 4. Art and Spirit. On the cave walls they painted their dreams. This was the dawn of art, the soul of humanity. Deep in a cave, where the firelight could barely reach, hands pressed against stone, fingers stained with ash left their mark. Bison, deer, and mammoth emerged from the shadows, painted with strokes that made them dance in the glow. This was no mere pastime, it was magic. The hunt was uncertain, the world cruel and vast, but here, on the walls, the people captured what they feared and desired. Beside the art, graves were dug. They were laid with care, bones endured with beads, tools, and flowers. This was something new. Belief. The people whispered of spirits in the river, gods in the sky. At night, stories carried across the flames, and words shaped into legend, of hunters who became stars, of creatures that guarded the earth. Through art and spirit, humans found meaning beyond survival. They discovered they were not just flesh and bone, but dreamers, creators, and seekers of something eternal. Chapter 5. Ice Age and Migration. The world froze, and survival meant moving. Mankind became wanderers, and they shaped the map of humanity. The world grew colder, food became rare, and the great herds wandered far in search of grass. For the people, survival meant movement. Camps could not stand against the cold, so families packed what they had: stone tools, fire carried in embers, memories of their dead, and followed the herds across the frozen plains. The earth itself was a map of hardship. Across mountains and rivers, the tribes walked. Some pushed into heart of Europe, others crossed into Asia, and farther still, through icy land bridges, humans stepped into lands no foot had ever touched, the Americas. God bless America, man. MAGA. Made America great a long time ago. Every journey was a struggle. Children froze in the night. Hunters vanished into storms. Entire clans were swallowed by avalanches. Yet, they pressed on. The drive was deeper than hunger. It was survival, and the unspoken belief that somewhere beyond the ice, life would be better. They learned to stitch furs tighter, to trap fish beneath the frozen rivers. The age of ice tested them, breaking the weak, sharpening the strong. But in the crossing of the frozen world, mankind became more than survivors. They became wanderers of the earth. Chapter 6. Domestication and First Farmers. When seeds were sown and animals tamed, survival turned to stability. This was the birth of farming, the roots of civilization. A woman threw some seeds near the camp, and weeks later, green rose where none had grown before. It was a small discovery, but it carried the weight of the new world. Slowly, people learned the rhythm of the earth. The soil, once only a path beneath their feet, became a partner in survival. Fields replaced wild meadows, and villages grew where hunters once roamed. But it was not only plants. Wolves lingered near the fire, drawn by scraps. Over generations, the fiercest were driven off, while the gentlest remained. From wild predator to loyal companion, the dog was born. Soon, goats, sheep, and cattle followed. Animals no longer hunted, but herded. With farms and herds came surplus. For the first time, bellies were full more often than empty. Families grew, new problems arose, fences, disputes, ownership, but so too did new ideas. Storage, weaving, pottery. Humanity was no longer at the mercy of the earth. The first farmers had lit a new fire. From their fields, civilization would rise. Chapter 7. Rise of Villages. From empty caves to crowded streets, humanity had found its first true home. The fields yielded more than one family could eat. Grain filled clay jars, goats crowded pens, and the people no longer needed to wander. What began as a camp became something new. a village. At Jericho, stone walls rose around homes, protecting harvests from raiders and beasts. In Satel Hayuk, houses pressed close together, entered from rooftops, their walls painted with animals and hunters. With so many gathered, life changed, skills divided. Some farmed, some shaped flint, others spun thread or baked clay into pot. Trade flourished, obsidian from far mountains, shells from distant seas, salt and stone passed from hand to hand. Yet with abundance came conflict, disputes over land, water, and harvest demanded leaders. Chiefs rose, chosen for wisdom or strength, and with them came the first hints of hierarchy, those who held more grain, more animals. Still, the villages thrived, fires burned in homes, children grew where once they starved, and songs echoed across the fields. The world felt smaller, no longer endless wilderness. The rise of villages marked the true shift in human destiny. The age of building had begun. Chapter 8. Gods, Rituals, and Power. Fire became altar, leaders became gods, rituals bound people together, and belief had become power. As villages grew, so too did questions. The answers were beyond sight, so the people turned to the unseen. They carved gods from stone, raised wooden statues toward the sky, and marked sacred circles on the earth. At Göbekli Tepe, pillars rose with carvings of animals, lions, snakes, vultures, the guardians of the hidden world. Here the tribe gathered, offering food, blood, and prayer, believing their survival depended on the powers greater than themselves. Rituals bound people together, fires roared as chants echoed into the night. Shamans painted in ash guiding ceremonies, to spill grain before planting, to lay bones upon an altar. These acts were more than tradition, they were bargains with the divine. And where belief grew, so did authority. Shamans became advisors, their words shaping law. Chiefs claimed descent from spirits or favor from gods, wielding power not just with the spear but with faith. Temples rose beside homes, symbols of a world now divided. Religion was the first crown. It could unite clans under one banner or set them against each other in dispute over whose gods ruled the sky. Nah, I'm sure these disputes won't last long, right? Right? Mankind discovered both hope and hierarchy. The unseen became a force greater than any weapon, and those who spoke of it held the power to shape the destiny of all. Chapter 9. War and Weapons. Sharpened stone became blade. The tools of survival became the weapons of war. The humanity had learned to fight itself. The village walls kept dangers out, but they also marked what was worth taking. Grain, animals, water, treasures that could mend life or death. And also, for the first time, men did not hunt animals, but each other.
Ironic.
At first, raids were small, stealing goats, but soon they came with sharpened stone axes, with spears hardened in fire. The blood of neighbors stained the soil that once only grew food. With war came strategy. Villages built higher walls, dug ditches, set watchfires at night. Chiefs rose as war leaders, chosen for strength, cunning, and cruelty. Victory brought spoils, land, herds, captives.
Today's subject, slavery.
Defeat meant destruction, enslavement, or death. But war was more than survival. It was the seed of ambition. Leaders who once protected their people now sought to rule others. Raids became battles. Battles became conquest. Blood and power walked hand in hand. Stone had given them tools to live. Now it gave them the power to kill and to rule. Chapter 10. The Dawn of Bronze. From fire came a new weapon, stronger than stone, bronze, and changed the world forever. For generations, stone had been the edge of human power, but in the heat of the fire, a new secret was discovered: metal. At first, it was copper, hammered into small blades, softer than stone, but shining like a sunlight. People wore it as jewelry, a symbol of status more than strength. But then came the greater revelation. Copper mixed with tin, The fire roared and poured something stronger, sharper, deadlier. Bronze. Bronze changed everything. Axes cut deeper into wood. Plows carved fields with ease. What once took days now took hours. But the true power of bronze was in war. Bronze swords sliced through stone weapons. Shields gleamed in the sun. Armor turned warriors into walking giants. Villages with bronze dominated those without, and the first true armies marched, banners high, weapons flashing. If they can't kill this many people with just bronze, wait until they find a metal called uranium. Bronze was more than a tool. It was a key. It unlocked trade across desert and sea. It unlocked hierarchy, as those who controlled the metal controlled the people. The blacksmith became as powerful as the chief, the forge as sacred as the temples. The age of stone had ended. The world had stepped into fire and emerged transformed. With bronze, mankind had forged the first civilization. This was only the beginning. The tale of mankind didn't end here. It only grew louder, greater, and more complex. From villages to empires, from gods to machines, our story continues. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching TaleGoo.